welcome back. Was it 3 weeks away? Welcome back to the show. Wow, it's been a while. I've forgotten.
Do I know you people?
I know exactly. Formal introductions. I kind of had to re-familiarize myself with StreamYard as well. It's just kind of daunting for me.
You should have seen me trying to make the link today. I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing.
It's like, yeah, okay, yeah, we pretend we know what we're doing anyway. We're winging it under our breaths, kind of thing. But.
Exactly. We're just winging it.
Yes,
so we're here. This is good.
We're here. Welcome to It's Not an Orb, It's Dust with myself, Peter N, and the lovely Cathy, the lovely Trevor, and the lovely Lynda. So, how have you guys been over the last? Is it 3 weeks or 4 weeks?
I think it's been closer to 4.
It's been 3 weeks, I think.
3 weeks.
Maybe 4. Okay. I don't know. I started setting up, and my wife told me she didn't realize I was still doing this. So I was like,
"Oh, as well." And it was like, you didn't tell us you had a show tonight. And it was just like, well, yeah, I typically do. No, you haven't done it for quite a while now. And it's just like, oh shit. Anyway.
Yeah. Doing good. I just got back from Florida a couple weeks ago. I had a fantastic trip. And it was amazing. It was really hot. And I spent 5 days in Disney World, 2 days in Universal. The last day, I thought I was going to crawl, around because you don't realize how much walking you haven't done in 3 years when you actually start walking.
Yeah.
A lot.
There's only so many times you can see Mickey Mouse, I guess.
I'm not. So this is too much information. This is TMI, but I'm going to be honest here. So this is what happened. You know what? I'm a fairly small person. Like I'm a thin person, and we were walking and I've never had, what do you call, where your thighs touch? I know that sounds weird.
Oh, yeah.
But we were walking, I think it was the third day or something. And I thought, what the hell is going on with my thighs? Like my thighs are like rubbing together. And I thought, what the, and I said to Dre, I said, what's going on with my legs? Like my legs feel like, I feel like I'm swollen or something. And he just looked down and he went, we should probably think about maybe going home a little early today. Is it like very diplomatically? This is my son, hey, and he's like, "Yeah, we don't need to stay the whole day. You're looking a little swollen." Because I never knew that your legs could swell from walking that much. And so we went home about an hour or so later, chilled out for the night. I actually got back to normal. We went back at it the next day, walk. But man, that was like, you are so much exercise. It was crazy.
I used to get that when I was a few years ago, because I was about 320, 330 pounds, and I was big. And if I used to walk long distances, my legs used to rub together, and it was agonizing.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, it just got worse because the more you concentrated on it, the more it started to rub and stuff like that, and it was just painful for sure. But,
yeah, I drank a lot of water. I mean, that's the thing is, apparently
so I always keep chafing powder handy.
You what?
Sorry, Trev, you broke up a bit.
I always keep chafing powder handy.
Oh yeah, tell me about it.
Yes, good thinking.
Yes. What's been going on, Lynda?
Oh, it's been great. Well, now that I can see everybody clearly.
Yay!
Yeah, but it was a little bit painful, the second eye, but I managed to survive. So that's a good thing. So I'm not allowed to wear makeup for a little while. So unfortunately, just, shield your eyes. But other than that, everything is going fine.
You look beautiful, no matter what you're wearing.
Always do, Lynda.
Thank you. You're sweet. But things are good. We're ramping up for a couple of investigations. So that's a cool thing. We're going to a fort to investigate overnight, which is a lot of fun, Fort Henry. Nice. And there's a couple of other little investigations that are happening too. We actually have a chance to go in October to Hinsdale House. So cross your fingers. That would be fun.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And how about you guys? How's our men doing here?
Trevor.
Well, hopefully I'm going to be able to talk because I don't know what's going on with my internet today. It says good speed. I don't know. It's just me. So we are getting ready, for our Gooding trip here this next week, and we're going to see Pete and his team over here, and hopefully Kathy if she's able to make it. And so we've got that coming up. We just scheduled another investigation in Oregon at a dispensary, a marijuana dispensary. So.
Ooh, nice.
Could be interesting. We might just get high. I'm not really sure. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, we've been staying busy, doing good, and yeah, like I said, we're just super excited for this next weekend, and can't wait to get going.
Can't wait to come down and see you guys. It's been a while, that's for sure. Yeah, with myself, I've been quite sick over the last few months with one thing after another, but last weekend was the first time we really got out for some time, and we went to the heritage site in Merritt, BC, a place called Bailey House, and we went there filming, and it's very like the activity there is very sporadic. There's no right reason to it, and there's no like hot spots in there where there's one room that's active and stuff like that. It's always the room that you least expect something happens. It happens, and there was a basement below the main office, which the main office was built in 1982 as a office, and it had a basement as well. They built like a basement in there as well, so they can store stuff in there. And that place that was periodically, you got bits and pieces of it and stuff like that. But when we was there last week, we got I should have uploaded actually a voice saying, "Get them out!" And so that was really cool. That was kind of like, and that was at the beginning of the night. So once we got that, of course, I pissed on everyone's fire, and it was just like, well, I just got the best EVP, so let's just go home. So that was it. And then obviously the trip down to Washington. Yeah. The trip down to Idaho as well. We've got a pit stop on the way down there. We're leaving on Wednesday, and we're going to go and see a friend of mine. Just close to the between Washington and Idaho, and there's an old. I'm not allowed to give locations away, unfortunately, but there's an old bar that used to be managed by the HA, and there's a lot of activity in the place. Poltergeist activity as well, apparently. So we're looking forward to that, and then going to go and see my second para-unity family down in Idaho. Trevor and team. So that leads us on.
So yeah, we're going to hopefully just not make an app.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So tonight's subject is very controversial subject amongst the field, especially people that have been doing it a little while, and it's called para-unity, and it's a bit of a buzzword, and it's ultimately, I can't read my own notes. So what is para-unity? It's supposed to be the bringing together of paranormal teams, investigators, and all people with an interest of the paranormal, basically bringing together all paranormal teams, investigators, scientists, apparently, parapsychologists, etc., to share ideas, methodologies, and to help promote each other. Now, it's a very controversial word, and so I would like to start off with Trevor on this subject. What do you think? As a broader, by definition, para-unity. What do you think?
I think it's a little bit like talking about religion, because everybody's trying to get to the same place, but we all have different ideas on how to get there, right? And that's kind of the big issue, I think. And we get there's some teams that I think have kind of the same mindset and get along real. And
Trevor.
Things, and there's losing me again.
Trevor, you're cutting out, buddy. Darn it.
Oh,
All right, go to somebody else. I'm going to try to figure this thing out.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go to Kathy. I'm going to hand the mic to Kathy. So what are you thinking?
Okay, so what was the question? What do I think of paraunity, or?
Yeah. What's in relation to the way I defined it? What are your thoughts on it in relation to, can it be achieved? Is it something that we can achieve as a field, like in its entirety, or do you think that there's some obstacles or?
Okay, so the thing is I do feel individually that there could be the possibility of paraunity for sure. The problem is that I don't know how much attention you pay to some of, let's say, other groups, more famous groups or well-known groups or TV shows or whatever. Right now we've got the spat going on between Nick Groff and what's that nuts name? Ghost Adventures dude, Bagans and stuff like, so, you hear about things like this, and really what it comes down to is, ethics, morals, honesty, trustworthiness, and to some degree, who's trying to go for celebrity status or trying to get their name more well known than the next person, right? And so, I mean, the bottom line is Lynda and I could have the exact same theory on something, but because I'm promoting the shit out of it, or I'm trying to make her look as though I came up with this same theory or this theory on my own, this is where we run into a lot of trouble in the paranormal field, right? Because I want to be more well known than Lynda. So, so that's, I don't really, guys.
No, we understand what you're saying.
Let me clarify this first. I'm not getting into a spat with Lynda.
no.
But this is what happens, right? And so, they knock each other down, they, criticize each other, whatever it is, and it just becomes a circus rather than what it should be is, unity in regards to the paranormal. That's what we're investigating. So, can it be achieved? I think it could be, but there's going to have to be a lot of egos that are thrown out the window first. And maybe what we need to do is stop giving the celebrity status to those that don't have the ethics or the morals or the trustworthiness, and that have been showing this. And there's a lot of buzzwords within the, paranormal community, right? Like you just said, when paraunity itself is a buzzword, but then we've got the buzzwords of demonic, we've got the poltergeist, we've got the this, we've got the that, and everybody has their own, I guess, theory as to what it is. And, we'll really run on, especially the demonic part, right? Because that's what brings views. Can't be Aunt Bessie. It has to be a demon, because nobody gives a shit about Aunt Bessie. They want to have the demon running around, So that's where
maybe Aunt Bessie was a demon.
Exactly. That's what I thought.
The only Aunt Bessie I know, she makes Yorkshire puddings back in England. Aunt Bessie, yes, Yorkshire puddings. But anyway, yeah. I think we're kind of, I'm on the same track as you. Like paraunity, the way it's defined, I don't honestly think we'll ever get there. Even if we tried, there's too many variables in this field where we have we have the people that actually do the research. They actually study and they look for trends. They look for as definitive evidence. They discover. They're trying to answer the question how and why. But then you've got on the other end of the spectrum, you've got Barry the Ghost Hunter that goes out every 2 weeks, and he goes and breaks into an abandoned house and just goes in there for cheap thrills and scares. So I don't think that those two people, those two variables, will ever meet in the middle because of the way that they conduct themselves. Because our field is there's no textbook on how to investigate.
Yeah.
So there's no methodology in relation to what we do. My method of investigating is probably totally different to Lynda's. Not so much the story to it, like not the start to the end, but when things like EVPs and stuff like that, or when she takes pictures that can the actual investigation themselves, and it like things like that. With me, I can if I go to and investigate with Lynda, I can absorb that because I have that mutual respect for her because of what she's done in the field and stuff like that. But if I went out with Barry the Ghost Hunter, I will start discrediting straight away because of the fact he's broken into a house. So with those elements, there's never going to be that that unison where everyone is on the same page, because there's no textbook in what we do. It's not there's not a way of it's not a written way of how we should investigate, which is to some degree it's down to the fact that we haven't been defined by science or anything like that. So no one's written a textbook on it. Like we're all students in what we do. So I don't know. I think by definition, para-unity is a pile of crap. Just to be honest with you, that element it reminds me of Live Aid 1985. That's probably the last time I heard the unity thing, where the whole world is in unity for Africa and stuff like that. But it's kind of it swallows a lot of bullshit with me, and I tried to do some research before the show about some kind of origins and where it come from. And if you Google, of course, it's Google as being research. Of course, everyone researches with Google these days. But if you Google para-unity, everything comes up as cash grabs. Like there's ghost hunters in New Jersey, para-unity.com, $150 a ticket and that kind of thing. And you look at all the line items when you type in para-unity, everything is a cash grab. So with that, it's the intent with those people is obviously totally different to what is envisioned by the true definition. That's what I feel as well. So, but I believe in we can make friends and make our own communities in the field. Because Barry the Ghost Hunter might know Stephen the Ghost Hunter does exactly the same thing. Likes to break into places and that kind of thing, or not to that extreme, but they're people out there that do mesh together for the right reasons, and they make their own community, but we'll never make para-unity before.
What are your thoughts, Lynda?
Oh, I agree. I think that para-unity is totally not achievable. And the reason that I don't think it is because, there are so many teams and so many people out there that are so disrespectful. And that I have a problem with. Yeah. And we've all had problems in the past dealing with those kinds of people. Because, we're talking that we'd like to see integrity in the field. Well, I know that on this page here right now, I'm in good company because I feel that, we all have integrity. We all, we do what we do perhaps differently, but we are respectful of each other. We're respectful of the process. We're respectful of the dead. We're respectful of the locations that we go to. But I know so many people out there who are not respectful and who criticize other teams. Now, critiquing is fine, and people should, I think, be open to positive reinforcement and positive, respectful criticism for sure. But there are teams out there that literally are so awful. They disrespect, they do horrible things online, they say terrible things, and they're just not nice people.
It's the ego thing again, like Kathy was alluding to earlier. It's like everyone's a student in this field. Like there's no expert or anything like that. And I know we people beat that subject about there's no expert or anything like that. But there's common decency, and a lot of that in a lot of teams I've seen, especially over this side of Canada, lack that. And it's sad because there isn't a governing body in that. And we're probably digressing and probably taking it a little bit into a different direction with like thrill seekers and stuff like that. But if you've got that element there, there's no, like, I would imagine if there was a way that we can govern the film, which there never will be, because science would never acknowledge what we do anyway. It could bring it back. It could bring it in, because then they could introduce basic principles of being a paranormal investigator. Not the fact that Lynda does EVPs differently to what I do, but being courteous and respectful to yourself and to the dead and to obviously the client, who's more important out of the equation than anything else. But
yeah. Trevor, you back?
I don't know. Am I?
You're back. So what do you think?
I think you're all right. I mean, it's kind of like I started to say. It's a little bit like religion, because you get teams that just really believe in what they do, and there's no other way of going about it, and their way is the best. It's their way or the highway. And then it's tough. Like I was saying, there's teams that we can get along with because we kind of have the same mentality, just like you were saying, Lynda. Very respectful about the places that we go to. We're respectful to our clients, and we try to respect other teams. The big thing that anybody who's out doing paranormal investigations needs to take a look at themselves and realize that none of them and none of us have been able to put a ghost in a jar and present it to the world. Okay. So it's a work in progress for all of us. And just because, I'm not going to disrespect another team because I don't like the way that they're investigating, because who knows, maybe their way is going to get that proof that we need. We don't know what the proper way is yet. And that's kind of what Peter was saying, until we can come or get some sort of consensus on, a standardized way of doing investigations, once we could start doing that, having a baseline, this is the baseline, almost like a certification type thing, then we could start looking. I think we could start coming more together as an entire community. But then, the question is like, okay, well, who decides who gets certified and who decides what the baseline is? And, it's a mess. So I think it's possible, but not in the near future. I think it's going to take a lot of work.
I think, kind of what I was stroking upon earlier as well. I think that the only time that it could actually happen is if science, or it gets acknowledged what we do, like in the science world, like we get recognition that ghosts do exist, or they define it as something completely different. We can now start measuring ghosts, and we can, there is a way that we can get consistent results by doing, an investigation a certain way. That's where you start, you can start a benchmark, kind of what you're saying about how to investigate, because that way provides you accurate data for investigating.
Yeah, and therein lies the tough part, because I think that even among us four, I'll bet we'll have different opinions on what that baseline might look like, right? Yeah. And it's just going to take a consensus of cool heads to come together and start to figure that out. And like Kathy was saying, people have got to stow their egos. There's a lot of egos in this field. I think TAPS started trying to do kind of something like that when they created the TAPS Family Network. They kind of sort of try to get teams that would more or less do things the same way, or they would have a certain standard of integrity to do that stuff. And but even that, I don't think worked out super well.
No, it just got too it got too big, and it became more of a status symbol for people rather than what the actual mission statement was. for taps originally, and that was a lot of the reasons why I went my own separate ways from that group. Was the fact that that time it was more, there's a team in Argentina that we don't have on the map. Let's get them in. It's just like, well, hang on a minute, they don't marry up to criteria and stuff like that. But it was more of a tick in the box, and then what I see of it now, it's there's a lot of egos there as well. So,
and it's tough because I think one of the first things that needs to happen is a lot of the YouTube sensationalism, the dramatic investigations, the stuff that we all know is just complete BS. That stuff needs to stop. That stuff needs to just quit. We need to stop. People need to just stop trying to recreate evidence or hoax evidence or whatever that they're doing, and just stick with putting it out there what you got, not doctored. Don't be adding sound effects and things like that, because I mean that's where the scientific community is looking at us and going, you guys are full of crap. Because they can recreate all of this stuff because there's software out there that creates ghosts and things like that. So,
exactly, like you ask like on my Canadian Paranormal Society page a couple of years ago, I put a post out saying, who would you like to investigate with? And it's all TV celebrities and stuff like that. It's just like, I really wouldn't want to investigate with. I have in the past, that there's a couple I've had the pleasure, and like there's a couple of people in the back of my mind that actually take this field quite seriously that are on TV as well. But the vast majority of them are just TV celebrities, and you can't, and their methodology is totally different to ours, and they're not interested in research. What I've seen, they just want to see themselves on TV, and it's all a lot of it's just BS. What just comes out from it, and it's just like, well, why would you want to investigate with someone that's a showboater? So you can see Zach Baggins's like skimpy tops or something like that, or do you want to actually, you actually want to collect data and see. You want to collect data, and you want to be with an investigator that digs into the weeds about things, and there's anyway.
No, I get it. I think it's funny because when you talk about para-unity, I think the byline is something like, we're all in this together and we're working towards the same goal. But the issue is that we're not all working towards the same goal, because there are people out there that are doing this for fun, quote unquote. There are people that are ghost hunters out there that are looking for ghosts. There are people in this field that do this because they genuinely want to help people and solve or attempt to solve whatever is going on around these people and try and help them through it or whatever. But we're not all working towards the same goal. So that's something that we definitely have to look at in terms of para-unity. It's not true. We're not all working for the same goal.
Well, if you kind of look at it in a broader sense as well, you've got the definition I read off earlier on. You've got parapsychologists as well. You've got scientists, which science is never going to acknowledge what we do, and parapsychology is very much one side of the field. It's more, they're very like that, and they're not open to interpretation or anything like that. So they're very, this is what I've learned. And a lot of physics and a lot of it's to do with energy and stuff like that. And they're woven in a certain way, and they, to a degree, they have a ton of vision in relation to their theory, because it is the theory. It's not proven, regardless of what a parapsychologist says or anything like that. It's a theory, and with that in mind, again, that's another element of the field that we're going to hopefully one day sit around a table with that para-unity boardroom where a parapsychologist is going to say, oh yeah, I believe that you have Casper the friend who goes in the jar, that kind of thing, which is nonsense. It's not going to happen. But
Don't you think, though, also, if the scientific field or science, started acknowledging it and, like you said, certification and all of that stuff, I mean, that just opens up a whole new can of worms of scams and, the whole, like, I was certified by the School of Ghost Face. So I can come into your home and charge you $1,000,
Right.
or whatever it is, because I
Yeah.
have the paper, saying I'm a I don't know, a Winchester expert or something,
Yeah.
some bullshit.
It
Like,
will.
like it's I mean, we already get that kind of nonsense, right?
Well, we do. I
And
mean, if you get science, like going back to what I said before, science acknowledges this field, then all of a sudden we get accreditations in our field as well. So I walk into your house and I'm a qualified paranormal investigator, and I have all the certificates. I can charge you. It's like much like me being a plumber. I know, I know
right.
what the pipe work that's going on in your house. I know exactly what caused the leak. So you pay for my expertise, and that would be the same with paranormal investigation as well. Once you get that certification that that Peter is that paranormal investigator and he went to school to learn it because it's finally been acknowledged. That's
Which
why we should
then opens it up to let's go into the psychic field. Okay. And me being a reader, I deal with a lot of these people where I don't personally deal with them. I hear about people that have been scammed by them, right? It's the whole, oh, well, you have this particular ghost, so this is going to charge you this, and this is going to charge. It's like, psychic saying, oh, you have an attachment. You must have an attachment. You have a family curse, and it's going to cost you your mortgage in order for me to clear it. Or here's a crystal that I found on the floor for 5 cents, or I bought for 5 cents, but I'll sell it to you for minimum price of $10,000. There you go. And your firstborn, maybe, right? So, but this is what, I could see that broadening into, because now, what, you're going to start charging by the name of the demon, or is it going to be, if you have a friendly ghost, we'll do it this way. If you have a nasty ghost, maybe we'll have to come to your house 3 or 4 times and charge you X amount of dollars per every visit in order to determine exactly what it is. And now we've discovered that you've got, something with horns running around you. So, if it has horns, we charge you more. If it doesn't have horns, we charge you less. Like, where does it stop? Like, that's the thing that I could see happening within this field.
And we warn our clients and other people around us all the time about that. Is, if any team comes and wants to charge money for what they're doing, say no. We do everything for free. I know that's how you guys operate as well. On your investigation teams. And you hit the nail on the head. There is nothing tangible that we can give to the people to say, this is what it is, and this is how we're going to take care of it. And then, show that there's some sort of difference at the beginning. We just don't have, we're just not there. And I mean, I mean, it goes all the way back to the original movie of Ghostbusters, when they go in and they bust that first ghost, and then they say, okay, now, so let's talk money, and it's going to be $5,000, and we're running a special this week on this, and that's $7,000. And, I mean, that's exactly what it is. And people are going to be like, what? So, you can't charge money for this stuff.
No, you never can. Like, what I try and do, though, with if I was to say, for example, I captured a picture of an apparition in your, I don't know, in your dining room, and I came over to your house. It's well within my own due diligence to understand the variables of why that picture, that capture, was something natural. Like, I controlled that environment. I know how that camera is functioning at that time. So to me, in my own experience, I can say to you, there's no logical reason why that image is on there, and that shouldn't be chargeable either. I mean, I know how a camera operates as well, and I know the variables that can cause a false positive with like pictures and not so much orbs, but other things as well, like reflections and stuff like that. And there's a lot of mechanics that do go wrong with cameras and obviously cell phones as well, because they're gadgets as well. But that kind of thing, it's within your best interest when you're handing a piece of evidence over, like an EVP as well. You say, well, okay, like what you do, Trevor, when we've had your EVPs on before. You've described it in a way that you said that Kelly was in the corridor and and Cody was in the over the other side of the room in a way. So in my own mind, you've sold me that EVP as a possible find where you know yourself that you've handed it over to me and said there's no logical reason why that voice appeared on that recording. Mm-hmm. And that's what we should be doing as a whole kind of thing.
I agree. I think that's true. And, Pete, you nailed it when you said there's no governing body. It's not like being a lawyer or being a doctor or anything like that. We don't have a governing body. And if we were to have a governing body and we were to need accreditation for what we do, we'd have to pay for that accreditation. Of course we would. So no, it just doesn't make sense. I don't know. But there are groups out there, and you all know this, that will swear that, oh no, we're working towards para-unity. We're all working towards para-unity. It's, something that is attainable. And yet a lot of them are the first ones going around and just criticizing what other groups are doing and just being so disrespectful. And I hate that. Yeah. I really hate that. I mean, we've had stuff happen to us, when we've gone on investigations with other teams where, we've watched the teams be disrespectful towards the dead, and we're not allowed to say anything, which we don't. But deep inside, it's wrong. Deep inside, that. How can we ever reach para-unity when so many people are so disrespectful and just, really, come on and scratch me.
Sounds a lot like communism to me.
For example, that article that came out, I think it was about 2 years ago, where I was handed a stolen picture, and I know exactly who stole it from that place, because my team went in there the following weekend, and the lady, the manager at the heritage site, actually told me that team was in there, and she complained then that things went missing, and it only happened about 6 years later. The picture ended up on my lap, where the guy was trying to sell it, couldn't sell it, so he ended up giving it to a friend of mine who didn't want it, and then he handed it to me. But it's dishonesty and stuff like that. I'm never going to sit in the same room as this guy, because he's a thief, but he calls himself a paranormal investigator.
Yeah, once you get and that's everything to me. That's like the big thing on my team, and that's where we talk about it all the time, is honesty, integrity. We don't manipulate data. We don't manipulate evidence. We don't post things that we don't think are real, just to get a reaction. Once a team does that, you can't believe anything else they ever post again. So it's just it's out the window, and that a lot of people don't understand that.
I had that with Vancouver Paranormal Society. Like, it took me the best part of 11 years to get a decent team, because of the amount of dishonesty that went on in that team, and the amount of like talking behind people's back, the drama and the lies. And I caught a alleged psychic once who joined our team back in the early days, going through the client's mail on the side to fish for information. And I caught one particular lady talking as trying to mimic her own mimic a voice on the EVP on the camera. And I went to her and said, look, this was you, and you said it was her own name. And I said, look, here's you on video. She's like, no, I didn't say that. I didn't say that at the time. And she's like, well, you're claiming that the EVP you got was by another voice. I can hear it's you. It's your voice. And it's just...
Oh my God. No, that's wrong. It's so wrong.
Well, that's that, and there lies the problem again. We talk about these shows that have built the investigations up in people's minds that they're going to go a certain way, and the reason why they react so dramatically to everything is because paranormal investigations are inherently dull. They're usually really, really boring, and because you don't hear much of anything, you typically don't see anything. You spend the evening just trying to come up with more EVP questions, and you're just talking to the air and nothing's responding. And the magic happens later on, hopefully, when you're going through the reviews and then oh, holy cow, we caught a voice there, and even going through the evidence review is tediously awful too. So now I'm starting to, why do I do this again? I'm just trying to remember. So
then you get the client apologizing to you because nothing, I'm sorry you didn't have anything happen. And it's like, no, you got to understand that field. It just doesn't happen like that.
Well, and that's hard. So when I talked about it, we're doing an investigation in Oregon, and our client, because I mean, they're like 3 hours away from where we're at, and I can't ask my team. I'm not going to have my team members get hotel rooms and stuff like that. And right now we're getting ready to do another trip. She offered to get us 2 hotel rooms for the 4 people that are going down, which is really, really nice. And, and I'm saying, I really appreciate that. Just understand, I can't guarantee you that I'm going to be able to catch anything. And if I do catch something, I can't guarantee that you're going to like what I have to say about it either, and so, but she was, really excited about it. And, we're going to go down, we're going to do a bang up job for her and see what we get. So, but, once money starts getting involved, I almost feel like, well, we got to produce something. Yeah. You can't think like that. So it's just, you go in, you do your job, do your due diligence on your review, and you present what you get. That's it.
Yeah. Well, that's true. That's true. But this whole para-unity thing makes me laugh because just the other day I was scrolling through one of the Facebook groups, and it was hilarious because somebody said in response to a team somewhere in, I think, as a matter of fact, it was on the East Coast. Well, I don't have any respect for them. They don't even have an ovulus.
Oh, well.
It's like, come on.
Like me.
They wouldn't like me either.
Me neither. So.
Oh my God. But again, how can we have para-unity when you're scrolling through sites like that or pages like that and these ridiculous comments come up and you think to yourself, oh boy, like there's so many people out there who just don't understand.
Here, like just as an example, the Ouija board, right? I mean, that's a purely personal tool that, if somebody wants to, but it's not up to the investigator. It's up to really the client. Because let's say I was a client and somebody said, I'm bringing over a Ouija board, or that's a personal thing. No matter what anyone can say or explain or whatever, that's a purely personal thing. I don't want it in my home. Done. I would be pissed if somebody was to bring it into my home. But that's for me. That's my, I don't need to explain it or explain myself for it. This is where I am with it. Done.
I've got,
and there we go with like the tools that, we talk about difference of opinions on tools and stuff that we use. I mean, what's a Ouija board going to prove anyway?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you were moving it. No, you were moving it. I mean, there's nothing tangible there,
right.
And again, it's going to take somehow, some way of getting, and I don't even know who would do it. I mean, who would be the one that everybody would vote for, would qualify, said, this is the baseline. This is how, these are the tools that we use. This is this is what we consider to be evidence.
Yeah.
Right. Like on our team, it's only tangible stuff. I can either play it for you, you can hear it, or I can give it to you in a video and you can see it. and nothing else. Like, I don't care if I got levitated off the ground and thrown across the room, which would be really impressive. And we didn't catch it on camera. Guess what? That wasn't evidence. Sorry. That was a really weird personal experience I had though. So, yeah. So it's tough. It's really tough. But again, when we went to Port Townsend all those years back and stuff, was kind of the first time I'd gone and seen a bunch of other groups working, kind of doing their thing. And what I understood, there were things that people were doing that I was like, I don't know about that. I don't know that that's how I'd approach things. Not saying that they were wrong, I just was kind of like, I don't know about that. But then there was other times where I see people doing something and I'm like, oh man, that's a great idea. Why didn't I think of that?
This is at the fort you're talking about?
Yeah, at the fort.
Oh, yeah.
And I think more teams need to have that kind of attitude where it's just look for an opportunity to learn something. You don't have to like what they're doing. You can just see, you can say, oh, okay, they're doing it this way. Interesting. Oh, I'll be curious to see what the results are. Maybe I don't want to do it that way, but learn something about it. Everybody's got something to teach. Everybody's got something to learn. You put your ego down. Just like we tell everybody, keep an open mind. It's what you have to have in this field. You kind of have to have an open mind.
The other team that went, they were, obviously it was my team and Kathy as well. The other team that went they were more spiritual than what they were kind of gadgets and stuff like that. And it was interesting seeing like Darren's team, how they did like EVP sessions and stuff like that. And it was interesting for sure.
I don't know which team it was. I saw them. They were kind of, they were holding they had a handheld voice recorder and there were 2 or 3 of them there and they were just standing there and one person would ask a series of questions. And then the next person would ask the same series of questions. And then the next person would ask the same series of questions. And I thought that was kind of interesting. It's not something, I don't know that I would do it that way.
Probably my team at the time we were experimenting with if different voices triggered different different activity or different activity, that kind of thing.
And I figured, it was something like that. It was interesting. I've never tried that, and then I saw Kathy's team and they were using the thermometer on stuff.
That was just me. I think it was just me because only I went.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I saw Kathy doing it. We kind of stopped and watched what she was doing. And I was like, this is great. I didn't even think about doing this before. And I love that idea. I think it's fantastic. Because she was getting some really interesting readings too. I mean, that's something that you can actually show people. Again, that's tangible evidence.
The thermometer is like my favorite tool. I swear, it's like my favorite tool is the laser.
Well, do you use oral or rectal thermometers? Like, which one do you?
Depends on the ghost and what they ask for. we have to have a consult first with the ghost, and then we just see how they're feeling that day.
Hey Peter, do you know how you tell the difference between an oral and a rectal thermometer in the United States?
Huh?
The taste.
Yeah, nutty. Tastes nutty.
It's a bit nutty.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Oh my God.
Oh, we're gonna have so much fun.
I was gonna take a sip of my coffee and now I'm like,
We are.
That's Trevor.
We're gonna have a little para-unity down here in Idaho. It's gonna be great.
Idaho, here we come.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. No, yeah. So next subject. No, I'm just teasing.
Yeah.
Thermometers.
I think we all pretty much agree, right?
I personally love the thermometer, but not like that, not that way.
I do as well. I do, like recently over the last 4 years, I do a lot of measuring now. I've got a thermal camera on my phone as well, and it's been more tangible. I don't do EMF anymore, obviously, and you guys know that. But temperature to me has been more tangible and more more reliant than any other way of monitoring an environment, because there's just too many variables otherwise.
That's
I think that's great. And what I like about that, Peter, is that you've done this for years and years and years, and you started to narrow down what works, what you see that is working, and what is a distraction, and what you can't seem to make heads or tails of, and my team, we're still working on that too. We're trying to work towards things that we like, things that things that I want to throw out. Like every once in a while we'll still get that stupid REM pod out, and I just want to boot that thing across the parking lot. That thing drives me nuts. And on the same time, I don't mind EMF work as long as it's not the sole focus of what the people are doing. Oh my gosh, it went up 0.1. Oh, it went up. Oh, it's back down to 0. Oh, it's up. Who cares?
So what we've done, actually, Olivier is coming down. We've got Olivier, well, I actually started, but Olivier kind of took it over. We've, like the Christmas lights, the Halloween lights you get at the dollar store. We, Olivier's modified them so that they are kind of like a REM pod, but in a string of lights, and we hang them over doorways and stuff like that. So as the moment that field gets manipulated, the lights come on. Like the string of lights come down,
cool.
no audio or anything like that, and that's been on my mind for some time. And we used that in the last investigation, and it's pretty cool. It's like when you're doing an EVP session, you ask someone to come forward and stand in the doorway and stuff like that, and it's because of the way the components inside, you don't get a lot of false positive. If the light goes off, there's a reason that it's been that string of light's been manipulated. It hasn't been, it's not because the phone's gone off or anything like that. It's gone off because that EMF bubble around the outside's been penetrated in some way. So
that'd be cool because we just got one of my team members just bought a commercial version of that.
Yeah.
And we used that when we were doing our thing with Kathy here. And they're nice and long and stuff. It'll be kind of fun to put that side by side with the Christmas lights and see.
We've got another two that Olivier's going to make when we're going to bring down with us as well.
Super cool. Yeah, and I told my team this. Kind of we're talking about the para-unity thing, and we had our team meeting yesterday, and we talked about, hey, we got friends coming from up north, and they've got their way of doing things, and they've I'm hoping, and I told them, I said, hey, so if they're doing stuff different, just pay attention and see what they're doing, learn something. Maybe there's something they're doing different that you're gonna like. We're gonna do our thing, and we're gonna be professional and try to not make asses of ourselves in front of Pete and his group.
We will do that. I definitely guarantee that I'm going to make an ass of myself a few times. So
I got, we got Cody there. So
there to have fun, right? Like that's the thing, is you're also there to have fun. So if you kind of make an ass out of yourself, who cares?
We'll all laugh about it for sure.
Friends, I can say that. We got a lot of history, so I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be good. So, yeah, we'll have to make sure we get all our evidence reviewed quick enough so we can maybe play some for the show. So,
yeah, that might be good. Like a kind of a recap as well. When I don't know if I've got the facilities to do it there. I could try and do it there, but then no, I'll have to do it when I get back. But we'll figure that out.
So you're going to be gone next weekend, then?
Yes, me and Trevor are going to. Well, possibly Trevor's going to be back on the show next Sunday, or maybe it depends on how much sleep he gets the night before. I'll probably be driving back to BC.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll just have some evidence on the show next week or something like that. We'll see what we got.
Yep.
I'm excited about it. I'm so upset that I can't go, but that's okay. You know what? There will be other opportunities.
Oh, Lynda, totally off record, and I shouldn't say this on there. There might be a possibility that we're doing a big, like a really large investigation in Montreal next year.
Really?
Yeah, so if we get the green light, I'll give you a shout, and like Crystal and all the other ladies and all that can come over as well.
I'll be there, and I
Yeah.
can en français. So there we go. It's all good.
I won't know a freaking word, but I'll just nod and.
It's all good.
Anyway,
Perfect.
that wraps up the show for this week. Thank you guys for tuning in. Is there any last comments from anyone?
No, just have a great week, guys. Have a great week.
Fun.
Para unity.
Yes.
Unity.
There you go. I support power unity. We are all working together on the same goal. Yes.
Oh, sure. Sure. Sure.
Yay.
Mm.
Kumbaya.
Anyway, guys, if you like the show, and we apologise for being offline for a number of weeks due to personal issues. But if you do like the show, please like and subscribe to our channel. That'd be great. And the ladies will hopefully be back next week for another show. I won't be here because I'll be driving back home. And have a great week.
I'll be here. So.
Perfect.
Trevor will be here.
Okay. Well, take care, guys.